yields could be a false flag. Let's bring in Fundstrat Head of Research and Fundstrat Capital CIO, Tom Lee. He's also a CNBC contributor. Tom, good to see you. Okay, so let's start there with the yield impact. What might people be reading wrong, you think?
Well, I wouldn't say markets are necessarily reading it wrong, but I would say as uncomfortable as we are seeing yields at near one-year highs, I don't think that this is going to be the level we see a few months from now. And I think that's more important because ultimately, if yields begin to fall because inflation pressures are easing, or if the job market is a bit softer than expected, it really puts the Fed back in focus. So I guess what I would just say is it's not comfortable to be here at where yields are. I don't think it really breaks markets, but I don't think yields are necessarily moving higher over the next few months.
Well, it's particularly uncomfortable, arguably, for small caps. Early last year, probably around this time, you made a bold call on how much small caps could rise. You've moderated from that since. But where do you see small caps going now? Why didn't the big pop that you projected for 24 pan out?
Yeah, small caps have been disappointing. I mean, unfortunately, I think there's been a rug pull on those names a few times, so I think investors are going to be very wary. But to us, I think the roadmap for 2025 is still one where the opportunity for stocks to have much better breadth widens, because not only do we have an incoming administration that is pro-business, and I think it is going to boost CEO confidence. It's pretty evident now, even seeing it in both ISM readings recently. But that's going to be a better environment for mergers. So to me, while small caps have been big laggards, actually for the last 10 years, this 10-year underperformance to the S&P is the worst in actually almost 100 years. So the second only to 1998. And then from a valuation perspective, small caps are still much more attractively valued. The median PE is around 11 times, and that's almost 7.7 turns cheaper than the S&P. So it's been tough, John, to be overweight small caps, but I think they're going to work in 2025.
Okay. I do want to get your thoughts on some of the riskier assets or the riskier parts of the market that, or I'll use the word maybe potentially more speculative. Case in point, the quantum computing stocks, they had a huge move higher. Jensen Huang from NVIDIA comes out yesterday, makes comments saying that, some of the supercomputers are still, and the full, I guess, realization of supercomputers is still decades away, and you see all the stocks tumble. I know there's one that you like in your granny shots here. I believe it's IonQ. Just want to get your thoughts on what we've seen in some of these parts of the market and how to think about investing, if you should be investing in some of these more speculative or futuristic frontier tech-like companies.
I think investors do need to put a long-term lens on a lot of these important mega themes. I think quantum computing is in the earliest days. I don't think anyone can judge really whether it's 15 years away or 15 months. And I think people have made many mistakes over the past 20 years looking at things like social media and underestimating the adoption rates there, or internet, or even AI now. I mean, just think about 2 years ago, how many people were saying AI was going to actually take far longer than expected. That being said, I do think the environment for stocks hasn't been great for the last 3 weeks. I think it's really gotten people into a recency bias, thinking, look, we've neared a top, or that stocks are just awful now. I think we're getting close to the point where, you should be betting really and leaning heavily against that. I mean, even look at AI sentiment, it's almost back to negative. But Morgan, regarding quantum specifically, it is a pretty innovative technology. I think these are going to be high volatile names. And so until we get back to risk on, they are going to be tougher names to own, but I don't think that means you have to sit them out in 2025.
Okay. How about Bitcoin trading just below 100K?
Bitcoin's another name that I think, or another asset class that we really want investors to have a longer term lens. This is something that needs to be 2 to 5.
Tom, stay right
maybe.
there. We have some breaking news. We'll come right back to you. Stay with us.